Hello everyone, Andy here from Andy's Credit Corner. Thanks for tuning in. So for today's video, I wanted to talk about my experience for one night as a Hyatt Explorist member, and I'll explain what that is and what my experience was like. So I hear a lot of stories about other people's experience with Hyatt status and what the kind of benefits that they got and the upgrades and everything else. So I wanted to see how my story compares with everyone else's, so I thought I would share my experience as well. So first of all, if you're new to this channel, welcome. On this channel, I talk about credit card points and miles and other travel topics. So if you haven't done so already, be sure you hit the subscribe button so that you get notified about future content that I'm coming out with soon. So to provide some background, I temporarily had Hyatt Explorist status for a few months due to a built promotion that was going on earlier this year. They gave you a window of time to where you would get Explorist status despite not having any nights possibly stayed at Hyatt. And so I happened to have one stay at a Hyatt hotel, which I got to use my Explorer status on. And so this status challenge, if you will, lasted maybe 2 or 3 months, I can't remember. And if you stayed a certain number of nights, they'd get to achieve globalist status, which is Hyatt's highest status. But for me personally, I just stayed one night during that time, so my status has since expired, and so now I'm just down to a basic member again. But I wanted to share my experience for this one night that I had. So to give you some perspective here, I've put up on the screen the status chart that Hyatt has and all the different features and benefits. So if you're a basic member, you get the column on the left there, just basic amenities. And then there's Discoverist if you stay 10 nights or if you have one of the World of Hyatt credit cards. And then there's the Explorer status, which I had. Normally you would have to stay 30 nights there to qualify for it. And then there's the Globalist, which is the highest tier. You would need 60 nights. So some of the key features that Explorers get versus regular members are premium Wi-Fi internet, free bottled water. You get a chance at an upgrade, better chance of an upgrade than Discoverists do, although not as good of a chance as Globalists do. You do get late checkout as available. There are certain Hyatt properties that give you elite check-in, which is they have their own dedicated check-in line. If it's a busier property, you could go to the special line where you could get checked in faster because you're not waiting behind everybody else that doesn't have status. This particular hotel that I stayed at did not have a special line. It was just one line, and there was not much of a line anyway. So those are the main major features of Explorer status. So my stay involved a one-night stay at a Hyatt Place, which is one of Hyatt's lower tier properties. It's not one of their really fancy resorts or anything crazy fancy like that. It's a more basic hotel. It has free breakfast in the morning. It doesn't have any really fancy suites or lounges or anything like that. This was a newer property that was just opened in the past few years or so, so it was pretty nice and modern, I would say. So that was good. And again, it was a one-night stay. This was I believe it was a Tuesday night in June this past summer of 2023. So maybe not exactly a peak time, sort of midweek. It was just a little one-night trip that I did. So I walked into the hotel in the afternoon, evening to check in. And so when the receptionist pulled up my profile in the system, looked up my name, she said, "Oh, I see you're in Explorer status with us. Thank you so much for your loyalty." And then she said how we have a room upgrade for you. So I thought to myself, oh, that's cool. I wasn't sure I would get that, but cool, I'll take it. And then she also handed me 2 bottled water vouchers. So basically, I got 2 different vouchers, each one redeemable for 2 free bottles of water. So I went and redeemed one of them right away, and I redeemed the other one the next morning. So it was nice not having to pay $4 or $5 per bottle of water. So I appreciated that. So after I was done checking in, I went to the elevator to go up to my room, and there was another guy that got into the elevator with me. He was also in the checkout line, and he apparently overheard our conversation and saw me redeem the voucher for the bottles of water. And so he asked me in the elevator, "How did you get the free bottles of water?" I said it's a status thing. He said, "Oh, I'll have to look into that." It was just a brief, quick conversation. It was a brief elevator ride, and then we went our separate ways. But it was kind of cool looking like a big shot there for just a minute. So then I got into my room. It was at the end of the hallway. It was like the second or third floor of the building. And so this room was slightly bigger than the other rooms that they have. It had 2 different windows instead of one, so there was extra natural light that came in. I would say the bathroom was pretty standard, nothing special about that, but it was more spacious as a room. And also, I noticed that the room seemed quieter. It was in a quieter part of the building, so I appreciated that very much. I was the only one traveling, so there was nobody else in my room, so I didn't really value the extra space all that much, but I did value the fact that it was quiet. So then the next morning, I went and redeemed my other water voucher to get a couple of other bottles of water, and I got my free breakfast buffet just as I normally would. And so then I checked out mid-morning. I may well have been eligible for a late checkout, like at 2 p.m., but I had to leave in the mid-morning anyway to get where I was going. So it's not something that I remember them talking about, but I didn't ask about it either because I didn't need it anyway. So basically, this hotel was completely free for me. I had the room booked with points. I didn't have to pay anything for parking because it was a suburban hotel. It's not like one of those downtown hotels where you have to pay to park in a garage. So that was free regardless. And of course, I had free breakfast regardless, as is common at Hyatt places. So the only thing I really saved money on was the bottles of water. Because I was gulping down those bottles of water, it may have cost me like, I don't know, 15 or so dollars otherwise. So that's what I was able to save due to my status that I had. I realized that I probably would have had an even more interesting experience had I stayed at a more upscale Hyatt where they have nicer suites and whatnot. Again, this was a basic property, so the ceiling was lower, if you will, but I still appreciated being recognized with my status and getting a better room and all of that. I'd say overall it was a good experience. I know others' experiences will vary. Some people say how they don't get a room upgrade and all of that. And it is difficult to get Hyatt status because of the fact that you can't just buy into it like you can with other programs. Like when you get one of the Hyatt credit cards, you get Explorist status, which is the second lowest tier status that they have. And then you have to organically work yourself up to the higher statuses. Unlike, say, the Hilton chain where you could just get the Aspire card and get their highest status, or, get the IHG card and get their second highest status. For Hyatt, you actually have to work for it. But then, of course, on the other hand, there are fewer other people that you're competing with. So that's what makes it special. So anyways, that was my experience as a Hyatt Explorist for one night. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And I do plan in the near future to come out with a more comprehensive video on my hotel strategy in general, what kind of hotels I look for, what kind of status I pursue, what chains that I like to focus on, and all of that. So stay tuned for that. And again, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you're alerted when that video comes out. And be sure to hit the like button if you liked this content today. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.